Well, I guess this is a story of how I developed my playing style. Um, Years ago, back in the late 70s, I think it was 78, I decided to play bass because we lost a bass player in our high school jazz band, and I was playing trumpet and figured, well, we got a couple of trumpet players, so I'll go ahead and give bass a try. And early on, I was listening to Louis Johnson. I was listening to Stanley Clarke. I was listening to, all these bass players. Guys in my high school said, "Oh, you should check this guy out. Check that guy out." Of course, I was really into Herbie Hancock, and so I was playing a lot of that jazz fusion and funk stuff, and really enjoyed it. Used to practice like 8 hours a day. But there was a guy named Brian Fox who was a bass player in Santa Barbara that really set me on the path of where I went with it. He was the guy who first showed me the basics of how to slap and basically how to lay down a decent groove. And I am forever grateful to Brian for showing me that. But as the years progressed, I think I was in graduate school, and it was odd. I was sitting in my dorm room, and some guy walked by while I was practicing the bass, and he said, "Oh man, you sound just like this guy on this album I've got." And I said, "Well, who's that?" He said, "Oh, this band, Level 42. I said, "Well, I don't know who they are," but he said, "Why don't you come over and check it out?" So I went down to this guy's dorm room, and he played me, that album, the first album, I think, from Level 42. And I heard Mark King, and I was sitting there going, I was scratching my head going, wait a minute, this guy stole all my licks. It was funny. I think we had developed very similar styles, just completely autonomous of each other. Didn't know him, he didn't know me, and it was just kind of an evolution that occurred from listening to the similar bass players and just developing a style that was very, very similar. And yeah, when Mark plays that really fast stuff, I was like, wow, that's what I've been doing. And it was an odd thing to hear, but I understood where that came from and how we kind of developed the same way. And when I heard Mark King's Influences album, I could hear the Stanley Clarke and the Jocko and all that stuff that he had been doing in there. And it was obvious that, we both were kind of had our ears tuned into the same guys and just sort of developed similar styles. But yeah, that's how I came about doing that. I've also had a lot of guys asking me how I do my slap stuff. And the basics of it are, you got to think of the bass as not just a one-handed, all doing your slapping with your right hand. A lot of it is the left hand. And to develop that, you got to basically get a good percussive slap. That's the slap that I consider slapping the bass, is in the left hand. You want to hear a good click when it happens, and that gives you that percussive thing. You could also do a hammer on, but in lieu of doing a hammer on, you want to have a good snap. playing the bongos. You don't play the bongos with one hand only. If you can get away with it, you want to use both hands to get your rhythms going. And that's same thing with the bass. Use that left hand to get that rhythm going. And then you could keep a continuous, tight, and even rhythm going without getting tired out or allowing your muscles to over tighten. Because as soon as you stress out and your muscles tighten up because you're stressing them, your time goes out the window. So for me as a session bass player, it's most important that timing be right on. And in order to do that, I got to allow my right hand to relax for a second while my left hand's doing this, and my right hand goes back and allows my left hand to relax. So and that way you keep a nice even pattern going, and you can change it up, mix it up, whatever you need to do, but using right and left hand is the key.